So let's do a quick review. We're always going to do a quick review of what we did last time. So in the beginning of the Tanya, we learned that when the neshama comes down to earth, you give it an oath, be righteous and don't be evil. And then we said it's a problematic because in other places in the Torah, it tells you should, and then it continues the oath, if everybody tells you that you're righteous, you should look at yourself always as evil. And then we thought to ourselves, if you're going to think about yourself as evil, as an evil person, a person can't go through Judaism thinking that he's an evil person. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't give you energy. It doesn't give you motivation. It doesn't give you anything when it comes to Judaism. You won't be able to sustain yourself being Jewish by thinking yourself evil. So what do you do with that? So in order to understand that, we brought the Gemara. And the Gemara is going to give us 5 different types of Jews. It gives us a tzaddik and good to him, a complete righteous person, a tzaddik and bad to him, a rasha v'tov lo, an evil person good to him, an evil person and bad to him, and then it gave us a Beinani. And we were trying to understand this Beinani.
A mediocre.
Yeah, a mediocre, an in-between state. And we tried to understand who is this in-between state. So we tried to say maybe the in-between state is a person that sometimes sins and sometimes doesn't, like most people. Sometimes they sin, sometimes they don't. But then that didn't work out. Why? Because we had a person called Rabbi, and Rabbi, on himself, he thought he was a Beinani. And we know that Rabbi was so righteous that even the angel of death couldn't take him. That's the story with Rabbi. So it says, how can Rabbi think of himself as a Beinani? So therefore, it comes out that a Beinani is not half and half. We don't know who he is. We don't know what this creature, a Beinani, is. But we do know that a Beinani is not someone who's half and half. That's where we were last time. So today we're going to continue to explore this creature, this mystical creature, this unicorn that's called the Beinani. What is he? Who is he? And so on and so forth. Okay, so if you want to know where we are, we're in the first page of Tanya, Perek Aleph. We are halfway through. No, we are almost 3/4 way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. There's a full stop over there in the end of the line.
What does it start with?
The line starts ve'ech. Yeah, but there's a full stop in the end of the line, and then ve'od. We're going to start from the ve'od. In the English, you can see in the English if you want. There's the red ones are in English. So if you want the English translation, take a red one. Yeah? So if you want an English translation, take the red one. Hebrew translations are in the blue ones. Okay? So we're going to continue to try to understand who this Beinani is. So let's try. He asks a question that we brought a little bit last time. He says, I don't understand how you can call a person a Beinani. That's the question he's going to ask. Ve'od, and more. Sheharei she'oseh avonot. Let's take a person, he sinned. Whatever sin he did, it doesn't matter what sin he sinned. Nikra rasha gamur. At the moment you sin, you consider to be evil. You're wicked. At the point of sin, a person is wicked. Ve'im achar kach asa tshuva, and if then you did tshuva, you repented from your sin, the proper nikra tzadik gamur, then he's called completely righteous. And if he didn't repent completely, he's still wicked. So it comes out that there's no time to be a Beinani. Either you're wicked, if you did tshuva, proper tshuva, you're righteous, and if you didn't do proper tshuva, you didn't repent properly, you're still wicked. So we're going to try to understand what's the Benoni. So I'm going to give you another option of what is a Benoni. The next option is like this. Maybe you can say that a tzaddik is somebody that keeps the entire Torah. A wicked person is someone that doesn't keep the Torah. And what's a Benoni then? You can say Benoni, he keeps all the commandments from the Torah, but he doesn't keep the commandments from the rabbis. Because he doesn't keep the command from the rabbis, you cannot call him wicked, because he doesn't go strictly against God. Yeah? You cannot call him wicked, but you cannot call him righteous either, because he still goes against the rabbis. Yes?
I think it's maybe when you're confronting Ben Tov Lera, at that moment you could be qualified as Rasha or Benoni or Tzaddik, because if you overcome and you do the mitzvah, at that moment you're a Tzaddik. But you can't be a Tzaddik 100% all the time. You can't be Rasha 100% all the time, and you can't be a Benoni 100%. It's a balance.
So that's what we say. If you ever sinned and you didn't do tshuva, what are you? A wicked. And if you did tshuva, really tshuva, you're a tzaddik.
But that tshuva depends on the avera that you're doing.
Yes.
You're not doing avera every day.
You did tshuva.
If you did tshuva, you took care of it.
But you can redo the sin.
So then you was wicked again. So there's no time to Benoni. That's exactly was our question. Right? So over here we says, ואפילו העובר על איסור קל של דברי סופרים, you can check, and even a person who transgress against the rabbis, even just a little transgression against the rabbis, mikri rasha, you cannot say that such a person is a Benoni, because the Torah calls such a person, it calls him a rasha. We have space right over here. Right over here. Mikri rasha. He's called rasha. How do we know? He brings the Gemara that tells us. How do we know? Kedeita beperek bet de Yevamos. It brings it, go check in the second chapter of Yevamos. Beperek kuf de Nida. And beperek hama de Nida, in the first chapter of Nida. So okay, so I'll tell you, so we still trying to figure out this Benoni is. So we're going to come up with another definition of a Benoni now. A Benoni is like this. Somebody who keeps all the commandments from the Torah. So, and he keeps all the commandments from the rabbis. All of them. So I says, so why do you call him a Benoni? I don't call him a tzaddik. Because he doesn't make sure other people keep it. He only makes sure that he keeps it. He cares. It says, my obligation is for me. I'm not my brother's keeper. So it says, maybe such a person, you could call him righteous. Because why is he not righteous? Because a righteous person takes care of his environment also. But you can't call such a person wicked either, because he's doing all the Torah and all the rabbis. So maybe that such a person is a Benoni. That's what he's going to try next. So let's see. ואפילו מי שיש בידו למחות, even if somebody had the opportunity to fix the environment around him, ולא מיכה, and he didn't fix, he didn't make sure to arrange that the sin is not going to happen somewhere else, נקרא rasha. So also this guy is considered to be a rasha, a wicked person. How do we know this? He brings בפרק ו' דשבועות. He says, God, see the 6 chapters of Shavuos. So then we're going to try something else. It says, look, I'll tell you what's a Benoni. Like this, a person who does all the positive, who does all the positive, a person who goes against God. God told you not to do something, and you did it. Says, then for sure you're a rasha. Yeah? But a person who doesn't go against God, he just doesn't do mitzvahs. For example, let's take an example. Yom Kippur comes. Yeah? He's not going to go against God. He's not. He doesn't drive on Yom Kippur. He doesn't eat on Yom Kippur. He doesn't smoke on Yom Kippur. Yeah? But what is he going to do? He's going to sleep. He sleeps the entire Yom Kippur. Now, you can't call him a rasha, a wicked person, because he didn't actively go against God. But you can't call him righteous because he's not really righteous. He's sleeping all day long, you know? So, let's see what's here. It says, וכל שכן וקל וחומר, how much more so, במבטל איזו מצוות עשה. Somebody who doesn't perform a positive commandments, שאפשר לו לקיימה, that it is possible for him to perform. And he's going to give an example, and that example is going to ruin everything. The example he's going to give is like this. כמו כל שאפשר לו, take a person who had an opportunity לעסוק בתורה ואינו עוסק, to study Torah, and he doesn't do it. Let's take an example. Today I brought the box of beer from the car over here for the people to have. On the way, when I'm carrying the box over here, I could have thought about words of Torah. I could have thought about something that is Torah, an idea, a concept. I didn't. So what does the Torah tells about such a person? שעליו דרשו רז"ל, on such a person, the sages says, כי דבר השם ביזה. It says he doesn't have any respect for the words of God. And then it says, you know what it would have been better? It would have been better that if during pregnancy, his mother would have aborted him. Yeah? It would have been better for him. Yeah, that's what the thing says. It says, what? In other words, over here it looks like this. It comes out like this in the end, up to here. That a person who had 5 seconds of rest, right? And he didn't use it to learn Torah, he's called what? A rasha. Not even a Beinani. Not even a Beinani. He's not a Beinani, he's a wicked person. And now we can understand the Rabbah when Rabbah says, I'm a Beinani. A Beinani is what we call a tzaddik. What everybody calls a tzaddik looks like this is a level of a Beinani. So if this is a Beinani, what's a tzaddik? Yeah? Upshita, it says such a person who doesn't learn Torah when he has the opportunity. Mikri Rasha is called an evil person. Tfei me'over isu de Rabbanan. He's even more wicked than somebody who goes against the rabbis. Because this is a mitzvah from the Torah, to learn Torah every second. And if a person doesn't learn Torah every person, he's called wicked. He's not even called a Beinani. So now we're even more confused. It says we shouldn't think of ourselves as wicked. And it comes up, what do you mean? If you think for 1 second about who we are, what kind of creature we are, for sure we are wicked. There's no other way out. Beinani, for sure not. A Beinani doesn't even waste a second in his life. Not 1 second in his life he ever wasted on something which wasn't productive.
A Beinani or tzaddik?
A Beinani.
I thought it's tzaddik.
No. A Beinani. If a Beinani ever wasted 1 millisecond in his life not learning Torah, he's a wicked. He's a rasha. He's not a Beinani. Yeah. So it comes out that a Beinani has never wasted even a millisecond in his life. Because if he did ever waste a millisecond of his life, he's a rasha. And if he didn't do tshuva, he's still a rasha. And if he did do tshuva, now he's a tzaddik. Yeah? But he's not there's no Beinani. It comes out that there's this creature, this unicorn that we're trying to understand, that the Beinani doesn't exist. You can't have him existing. He doesn't exist. Where is that thing? Ve'im ken. So he says, so again, he's not going to give it a definition of a Beinani. And by the way, we are not going to have a definition of a Beinani until chapter 12. We're not going to know what a Beinani is until chapter 12. We're not going to understand a Beinani yet. Yeah? Ve'im ken. But I can tell you what's not a Beinani. Over here now, we have the conclusion of, I can tell you what's not a Beinoni. Im ken al korchach, I know, ha-Beinoni, ein bo afilu avon bitul Torah. A Beinoni doesn't even wasted a second in his life on something besides God. He either does the commandment, the mitzvah, and if he has time for himself, he never uses it on himself. He has extra time, he uses it to learn Torah. He has extra time, he helps his wife. He has extra time, he spends it with his kids. He has extra time, he never sits on the television and watches whatever. He never looks on the internet at politics, at what's going on in politics, unless he's a governor and he needs to do. Not like if a person has ever been, one of us, on the internet, watching the news or something, you know about who Trump and Kamala is, I don't know if you're a Beinoni. Let's call it this way. Yeah? A Beinoni is someone who doesn't waste the time. Yes?
What about if you have a day job? Say you are a truck driver.
So you have to know everything about your day job. Absolutely. It's your job. You have to know. That's fine.
Day job is okay.
That's 100%. Whatever you need to do to make a living, talk to the wife. If the wife is going to be excited by if you knowing who Louis Vuitton is, you should know about Louis Vuitton because you're doing it for her, but not for you. It's only for her because you need to know what Louis Vuitton is. That's okay. But because you do it to entertain the wife, not because you're actually thinking about it for yourself. Okay? And now we understand, umishum hacha, ta'arabba be'atzmo lumar shu beinoni. Now we can understand how Rabbah, even though he was a person that the angel of death couldn't take, we can now understand how he thought about himself that he's a Beinoni. Do you see this small little star over there that we have after this word? Yeah. We're on page 10, second page of the Tanya. On the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a small star over there. And the star is the Haggadah. And I know from the response in the class that there are no Mekubalim here who know Zohar by heart. Because if there would be a Mekubal here that knows Zohar by heart, he would tell me, but Rabbi, in the Zohar it says something else that the Beinoni is. So for all those Mekubalim now, we're going to learn.
For sure if we don't have
Yeah. For the Mekubalim that's going to ask this question from the Zohar, we're going to learn how to answer that question. So this is in the Haggadah. Uma shekatuv b'Zohar, the Alter Rebbe says, I know you have a question from the Zohar about what I just stated, this very controversial statement I just stated, Chelek Gimel, Daf Reish Lamed Aleph. It says in the Zohar, it looks like there's two people talking, and from the way they speak to each other, it looks like a Beinoni is Kol shemumoatim avonotav. Any person who's got less sins than commandments, than merits. That's from the conversation of these two guys. A Beinoni is someone, vehi she'elat Rav Hamnuna le'Eliyahu. So it's the Zohar, there's a conversation between Rav Hamnuna and Eliyahu Hanavi. They're having a discussion. They didn't live in the same time, but it doesn't matter. Eliyahu and Rav Hamnuna were friends. Yeah. No, they were both on earth. Yeah. So there's a question between Rav Hamnuna and Eliyahu. Aval lefi tshuvat Eliyahu, it says, it looks like from the question you write, that this is what Rav Hamnuna thinks. But look at the answer, he says, of Eliyahu to Rav Hamnuna. הפירוש צדיק ורע לו הוא כמו שכתוב ברaya מהמנה. That when it says a righteous person and bad to him, is mean on a level of what it's written in the other side of the Zohar, a book called Raya Mehemna, beparashat Mishpatim Deleil. So it looks like he holds that the Beinoni is what we hold the Beinoni is. In other words, Rav Hamnuna asked Eliyahu a question that from the question it looks like he was thinking that Beinoni is half and half. Yeah? But the way Eliyahu answered him, says, no, a Beinoni has no sins whatsoever. So it says, you're right that the Zohar brings, it looks like it's half and half, but look at the answer will tell you that that's not the right thing.
He meant that you have more merits than Chataim, than sins.
That's right.
So when you have more merits than sins, you are Benoni.
That's right. That's right. And now he's going to ask a question. And the Alter Rebbe does this a lot. He will walk in the theoretical world, and then he will say, but look, practically, what's going on? But practically, I go around the world, the Alter Rebbe says. So let's continue. The Alter Rebbe says, but, the Amri Be'alma, if you go around the world, by the way, as long as you're not by Chabad, you go around the world today, religious people, non-religious people, and you see people use the words tzaddik, rasha, a tzaddik in Russia, the mechza al mechza mikri beinoni. Says most people will tell you a tzaddik is someone who does a lot of commandments. A wicked person is someone who does a lot of sins. And a beinoni is an in-between guy. Sometimes this, sometimes that. Verov zchuyot mikri tzaddik. He says, why the world, why the Gemaras, why everything else is called this way? They call a Beinoni half and half sins, half merits. He says, no, you didn't understand. Hu shem hamush'al le'inyan sachar ve'onesh. Over there, in all those places that the Gemara calls half and half tzaddik or half and half rasha, it's not the real level of the person. It's the name that was used, that was borrowed. Well, let's explain what it means. For example, if me and Marty go to court, because Marty thinks I owe him $5, and I don't think I owe him $5, and the judge says, Rami, you owe Marty $5. So the Gemara is going to say, Marty tzaddik. That's what the Gemara is going to say. That Marty is tzaddik. The Marty is righteous in this case. And I'll have to give him the $5. But that doesn't mean that Marty is a tzaddik. It means that in this particular case, Marty was righteous in this court case. Or, let's take it us. Rosh Hashanah, last year, came around, or 2 years ago, Rosh Hashanah, you remember Rosh Hashanah 2 years ago, Yom Kippur 2 years ago? Yeah? We were found righteous. And how do you know, and how do I know that we were found righteous in the heavenly court? Because if we wouldn't have been found righteous, we wouldn't be here today. Yeah, that's how I know. But that doesn't mean that we are righteous. In the court, God looked at us. How much is this? How much is this? And he calls us, you're righteous. Not that our level is that of a righteous person. In that court case, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, we happen to be righteous. You know, it doesn't mean we're not sinners. Yeah? It means in that court case we're righteous. And how does he say it? Lefi shenidon achar rubo. Because when God judges us on Rosh Hashanah, God judges according to the majority of our deeds. Umikri tzadik bedino. And we call him righteous in his judgment. Not righteous. He's not a righteous person. He's righteous in the judgment. Me'achar shezoche badin. Because he won, he's still here next year. He still merited to be here. But if he's really a righteous person or a wicked person, that doesn't mean nothing. The fact that we're still here, that doesn't mean that we are righteous. It's true that God found us righteous 2 years ago. Well, 1 year ago. He found us righteous. That's why we're still here. But that doesn't mean that we are a righteous level. והמעלה של מעלת ומדרגות חלוקות צדידים ובינוניים. So in order to understand what is a tzaddik, a rasha, and a beinoni, Amru Razal, the sages said, tzaddikim yetzer tov shoftan. From here we're going to start having a little bit of some kind of understanding. It says when it comes to righteous people, their good inclination judges them. What do you mean the good inclination? I don't know. We'll see later. And how do we know this? We know this from King David. King David I'm not going to go if it was before Bathsheba or if it was after Bathsheba. Not our concern right now. But I do know that King David said, Libi halal bekirbi. He says, my heart is dead, an empty space within me. It's a play on words. The word halal means somebody who was killed in war. The word halal means empty space also, or space. It's a play on word. It's both meaning. So when King David in Tehillim says, Libi halal bekirbi, my heart is an empty place inside of me, what is he saying? He says, I have no evil inclination. King David says, I have no evil inclination. She'en lo yetzer hara. That he says, I have no yetzer hara whatsoever. He doesn't have evil inclination. I don't know what it means, but I know he doesn't have one. Why he doesn't have it? Ki hargo beta'anik. He killed him. He killed his evil inclination. How did he kill his evil inclination? Through fasting. King David killed his evil inclination through fasting. He's called a tzaddik. אבל כל מי שלא הגיע למדרגה זו, but anybody who didn't reach that lofty level, אף שזכויותיו מרובים על עוונותיו, even though he has more merit than sins, אינו במעלת ומדרגת צדיק כלל, is not on the level of a righteous person. And therefore, now we're going to have another problem. There's a certain amount of tzaddikim that has to live in a generation in order for the world to survive. Yeah? 18, 18 tzaddikim, 36 according to some people. Yeah? 36 tzaddikim. Yeah? There has to be. So it says, you look in the world, how many King Davids do you know? And how many people that don't have evil inclination? How many people you know that don't waste a second of their life doing something wrong? ולכן אמרו רז"ל במדרש, and therefore the sages says in the midrash, ראה הקדוש ברוך הוא בצדיקים שהם מועטים. It says God saw that righteous people are very few. There's not going to be a lot of righteous people. By the way, not in our generations, in any generation. In any generation, there's not going to be many righteous people. Amad, so what did God have to do? Amad veshatlan bechol dor vador. God took them and he planted them within each and every generation. That's what God did. He planted them in each generation. וכמו שכתוב, because without the tzaddik being in the generation is not going to be able to survive. וכמו שכתוב, וצדיק יסוד עולם. Just like it's written that the tzaddik sustains the world, is the base of the world. Without the tzaddik being here, the world cannot exist. Up to here. So we do know, let's just make a quick summary. A tzaddik is very, very lofty level. Nothing to do with regular people. Even in many generations, God had to put them specifically in every generation. Yeah? Even in generation of the Mishnah, in the generation of the Gemara, maybe you don't have enough tzaddikim that God has to come and put them in. Yeah? That's what we know. A Beinoni, we know what he's not. A Beinoni is someone, if someone ever was angry in his life, he cannot be a tzaddik. He cannot be a Beinoni.
It almost looked to me like I have to understand what a tzaddik now is and not a Beinoni.
That's right.
Because a Beinoni is like a tzaddik.
That's right.
Doesn't do, the Rebbe said it doesn't do any...
That's right. That's right. So in order to understand now, we're going to start. Actually, many classes starts the Tanya over here. Because up to here it was just questioning, just making our life miserable. From now on, we're going to start having some kind of understanding. So let's start. Ach bi'ur ha'inyan. But let's see the explanation of this. Who gives an explanation? The Arizal. על פי מה שכתב הרב חיים ויטל, according to the student of the Arizal who was called Rav Chaim Vital said, where did he say it? בשער הקדושה, in the gate of holiness, ובעץ חיים שער נון פרק ב'. What does he say? Here we're going to understand, some kind of understanding how this whole mechanism works. The לכל איש ישראל, he says, first of all, you should know, I don't care if you're a tzaddik, I don't care if you're a Beinani, I don't care if you're a Rasha. We're talking about all tzaddikim, Beinanim, and Reshaim, which is going to be very controversial according to what we just said. Echad tzaddik ve'echad rasha. Whether you're righteous, whether you're evil, yesh shtei neshamot. There is two souls. By the way, this statement that the Alter Rebbe just introduced right now, that the Alter Rebbe just said right now, something new. It's something new that wasn't new. It's not new, you're going to see soon. But it wasn't revealed to the Jewish nation in this level that he said it until he said it. What do I mean? Most people look at a human being the way Hollywood looks at it. We discussed it last week. There's an evil angel over here, and there's a good angel over here, and they're both talking to me, and they're both telling me, hey, do this. And this guy tells me, no, do that. They're fighting over what I'm going to do. This is the picture we have from Hollywood, picture we have, the entire world has, of how a person is living. Over here it tells you, no. That Rebbe says, you misunderstood. It's not two angels who are trying to control you. There are two people living within you. One person understands one way, the other person understands another way. We're talking about the one person believes one thing, the other person believes in another thing. One person wants to do this, the other person wants to do that. It's not two entities, two, let's call it shedim, two angels trying to fight over your body. It's two personalities that at the same time are alive within you. In other words, they don't think the same. They don't experience the world the same. And this is only by Jews, by the way. It's only by Jews this way. Non-Jews works the way Hollywood says it. Yeah? Jews are schizophrenic. They have two peoples living inside of them, and each one has its own life, has his own experience. They look at the same thing and they see different, they come to different conclusions. That's what it is. And this is, from now on, we'll have to actually think this way when we're going to go through it. And we're going to see the whole of chapter Bet is going to describe how the one entity within you, and the other is going to describe the split personality, how the other entity is thinking within you. And they use all your powers. They use your power of intellect, they use the power of emotions, they use all your powers to live their own life within you. And they can come with opposite conclusions. And you can see many, many times within Jews, and we're going to discuss that only within Jews, they will actually come to opposite conclusions at the same time. And they're both 100% sure that they are right. And it's both living, and living like this, you can't. How can you live like this? With two personalities telling you both things are right. So let's continue. So he says, first of all, you should know that you have two neshamas, two souls within you. Dechtiv v'neshamot ani asiti. As it is written, that God says, I have created souls in the plural. Shehem shtei nefashot. That there are two souls. Nefesh achat mitzad deklipa v'sitra achara. one nefesh, we're going to call it klipa, the other side. The other side. What's his job? That nefesh has a simple job. It's in you. God gave it in every creature in the world. Every creature, it wants to survive. It wants to live. Every creature in the world, God puts a soul in it that I want to exist. Because I want to exist, I want to eat, I want to procreate. Therefore, I would like women, I would like wine, I would like honor, I would like money, I would like people to like me. That's it. And by the way, it looks like there's no way to escape it. God imbued it in every living creature. Every one of us has it. If a person says, I don't like money or I don't like honor, he's lying to you. Don't believe him. He's got something to sell. The biggest, I don't care what, if he's a living organism, he's alive, he wants to exist. In order to exist, you need money. He likes money. That's it. That's it. There's no way to escape it. We're going to have a question about a tzaddik. According to this, how can you be tzaddik? But keep looking. That's what he says so far. The one soul, that's the way it is. It's the will to survive. Call it. It's not bad. We don't call it bad.
No, because otherwise you'll die.
Otherwise you'll die. It's not bad. But that's one soul. And where is that soul dressed? Where is it imbibed? היא מתלבשת בדם האדם. That soul is within the blood of the person. Every cell of the body that doesn't receive a blood supply, what happened to that cell of the body? It dies. The cell of the body dies. Any cell that doesn't get a blood supply will die. In other words, the blood, where is your soul? Your soul is within the blood. A person's soul is within the blood. Another word for soul in Hebrew is dam. When you say dam, it means soul. If you want to say in Hebrew the first soul, you say Aleph Dam. Aleph Dam is the word Adam. Adam is called Adam because he's Aleph, he's the first soul. Aleph Dam. Bedam Adam. And what does the soul do? L'chayot haguf. It has one job. It needs to keep you alive. That's the source of the soul. That's its job. That's what it wants to do. That's what it was created to. It was created to keep you alive. It cares about one thing and one thing only, that soul. You know who it cares about? Actually, three things.
Yourself.
Me, myself, and I. All three did. Yeah, that's it. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about no one. He has no... If he does care about you, is what can you do for me? If we both together do something, maybe we can be more profitable than each one on our own. Then I will care about you. But otherwise, that soul doesn't care about you. It only cares about my survival. If you can contribute to my survival, come. If you can't contribute to my survival, who needs you? That's the way the soul is. It's incapable, okay? וכדכתיב, like it's written, כי נפש הבשר בדם היא. Like it says, the soul of flesh is in the blood. There's a whole class over here, which I'm not going to discuss, just going to point it out. Soul is spiritual. Look how it calls it. Nefesh habasar, the soul of the flesh. What do you mean the soul of the flesh? The soul is spiritual, flesh is physical. What do you mean soul of the flesh? It's both. It's both. Dam, the dam, is both spiritual and physical. It has some spiritual elements, it's alive. It has some physical elements, it's water. What is it? Umimena baot, and because all it cares about is whom? Me. It cares about nobody else. That's the way God made it. God made it to only care about me. To survive. That's its job. To keep this organism alive. Because of that, baot kol hamidot raot, all the bad attributes, מארבע יסודות רעים שבה, from the 4 bad elements that is within the soul. We're not going to go into what are these elements are right now. דהיינו, כעס וגאווה, every time a person gets angry, every time a person gets haughty, I need some respect, whatever, comes מיסוד האש שנקבע למעלה, come from the element of fire that is drawn upwards. As you can see, it comes from the soul. Why am I getting angry? I'm getting angry because you think you threatened my being, my existence. That's why I get angry. You notice when people get angry, especially on the highway. Why? Because people are driving 70, 80 miles per hour on the highway, and people cut you off. Of course I'm going to get angry. He was about to kill me. Yeah? He's threatening me. Of course I'm going to get angry. Yeah? There's no... What do you mean? Why am I getting angry? Because the soul's job is to protect me. So you get angry. I think I'm better than everybody else. That's what, everybody, by the way, thinks that he's better than everybody else. He knows that some people are smarter than him, some people are kinder than him. But come on, better than me? Nobody can be better than me. Overall, I'm better than everybody else. Come on. It has to be. And each and every one who feels it. By the way, you are forced to feel this way. See, a lot of people say, no, I'm righteous, I don't feel this way. There's no way you don't. You're lying to yourself. There is no way. Oh, for me, the world was created. That's the way the soul world feels. In other words, everybody, the kids have a saying right now. The saying, he thinks he's the main character. You know, he thinks he's the main character in the story. What's the kid say it? How do the kids say it? We have one kid over here. But I've heard it from the kids this day. He thinks he's the main character. He thinks that everybody else is just there to support him, to get support roles for his main character. That's the way we feel. There's no way to escape it. Yeah. So the haughtiness and anger come from the element of fire that we can see goes upstairs. תאוות התענוגים. Everybody wants to enjoy life. Give me 5 seconds to enjoy myself. Everyone has his own enjoyment. Some people enjoy women, some people enjoy wine, some people enjoy electronics, some people enjoy science. I don't care. But everybody has his enjoyment in life, and the soul seeks it. There's no way that the soul doesn't seek it. The soul is going to seek something. There is no way a soul that doesn't seek enjoyment. You're going to seek enjoyments. מיסוד המים, this is from the element of water. כי המים מצמיחים כל מיני תענוג, because the water grows all kinds of pleasures. והוללות, וליצנות, והתפארות, ודברים בטלים, and all kinds of being a clown and just having fun. You know, this concept of having fun. Let's have fun. Yeah? The soul wants to have fun, to enjoy itself. To go to the casinos, to go to the Caribbeans.
Study Tanya on Wednesday. Come on.
Even study Tanya on Wednesday. Even that. Yeah? Can be science, can be study Tanya on Wednesday. The reason why, very good that you brought it. A lot of people think that the reason why people study Gemara or Tanya comes from the godly soul. It has nothing to do with the godly soul. The animal soul wants to enjoy itself. It's intellectually stimulating. It's enjoying it. It comes from the animal soul. It doesn't come from the godly soul. We're going to see what the godly soul wants later on in chapter Bet. The animal soul can enjoy it, just like learning science, learning music, learning art, learning Tanya also. ודברים בטלים מיסוד הרוח. We're on page number 6 now. All the way on the top. And the worst of them all, עצלות ועצבות, laziness and sadness. מיסוד האפר. For everybody, it's hard to wake up in the morning. There's no one who gets excited. How much fun it is. The pillow in the morning calls everybody and says, come. Yeah? Unless you're old, Unless you became old and the bladder is already there, and it makes you go to the bathroom. Then maybe it's easy. But afterwards, if it's not that, it's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to move. It's much easier to stay in a state of rest. Right now, I'm in the couch. I have to put on tefillin. Just to do this. I'm already, It's easier just to stay where you are. That's where it comes from. The soul wants to rest. He wants to give me alone. Okay. And here, we're going to come with your introduction. You should know that this soul, though, is not completely bad. The way we describe it, it's completely evil. It's only thinking about myself. It says, no. The soul also is able to think about other people. For example, גם מידות טובות, you should know that the good things by Jews, there's good things that Jews are known for, שבטבע כל ישראל, that is the nature of every Jew, בתולדותם, when they're born, כמו רחמנות וגמילות חסדים. Jews are known to be merciful people, do kindness. Look at the amount of hospitals, the amount of schools, the amount of things that are donated by Jews all over the world. Yeah, we're kind people. Ba'ot mimena also comes from that soul. In other words, that soul enjoys to do a favor for another. For you. Yeah, take something. It enjoys it. It enjoys seeing a smile on somebody else's face. It has a good feelings about it. Yeah? Ki b'Yisrael, because by the Jews, when we say by the Jews, we mean each and every individual Jew is guaranteed to have it. Each individual Jew, whether he's a tzaddik, whether he's a rasha, has that quality that he enjoys doing kindness. He enjoys to be kind. Because in Israel, nefesh zo de klipa היא מקליפת נויגה. Because this soul comes from a klipa that's called an in-between. In-between. שיש בה גם כן טוב. That has in it also good. Just by the way, if you want to know how much good it has, in the other places, it says how much good. It's 1 out of 3,600. In other words, it's 1 out of 3,600 good and 2599999 bad. Yeah? So it's almost negligible, but it has some good. Minute amount of good in it. And where did we got it? That we're going to learn Zohar one day. We got Misod et Sadat Tovera. It is because when Adam ate from the fruit of knowledge, everything, the evil and good intermingled. Adam intermingled with the evil and good intermingled. Again, we're not going to go into all this area right now. Now in the next part, sounds controversial. It only sounds controversial when you don't understand it. Once you try to see it. So let me say it outside first, and then we're going to read it inside. A person walking down the street, and I gave this example many times, and I'm going to give it again. It's a good example. And he wants to go to a restaurant with his wife. And they walk next to the restaurant, and they see a homeless guy sitting next to the restaurant. And the homeless guy is seeing you are about to go into the restaurant. And he's looking at you. And he's telling you, Mister, I'm hungry. Give me $5 so I can buy myself some food. So you take out $5 and you give it to him. Why? So the question is, what do you mean why? I'm a good person. That's why I give. Because I'm a good person. But let's think why a person gives, why a person can give. Yeah? A person can give, you know why? Because he's making a small calculation. The calculation is like this. I'm going to go with my wife now to the restaurant. I'm going to sit inside, nice and warm, while he's freezing outside. I'm going to get a big dish, and I'm going to start eating it. And I know that he just is hungry outside. He just asked me $5. I won't be able to enjoy the food. It's not a nice atmosphere. He ruined the whole atmosphere. Because I want to have a nice atmosphere while eating the food with my wife and actually enjoy the food, it's worth it for me to put my...
So you give it for yourself, not for him.
So the question is, did I actually did him a favor or did I do me a favor? So what the idea behind this, it's the whole idea, some psychologists say there is no such concept as being altruistic. It doesn't exist. People are going to be good to other people only if they gain something from it. And the test for it is, there's a test for it. Would you give charity? Would a person give charity if God would have made it that if every time you gave charity, you felt like you killed your son or your daughter? You didn't kill them, you just felt as if. So most people are going to be honest with you, and they're going to tell you, I'm not going to give charity. Under such conditions, you need to be crazy to give charity. So in other words, why do we give charity? Because it makes us feel good. We are a type of animals that feels good while giving it. In other words, we don't do it because it's the right thing to do. We do it because it's like, why are you nice to your wife? Because you really care about her. Because if you're not going to be nice to her, you're not going to be able to live nicely with her, you're going to have a miserable life. It's worth it to you to go out of the way to be nice to the wife. Happy wife, happy life, like they say. In other words, you don't love her. You're only nice to her. Why? Because you want to have a happy life. You're doing it for yourself, you're not doing it for her. No, that's Shashak Kipadat Me'ol. Some people view the entire world this way. Over here, he's going to say that you should know the other nations, not the Jews. The other nations, that's the way they experience the world. No such thing as altruistic. Everything they do is for themselves. Everything they do is for themselves. But there are some, he's going to say, within the other nations, there's individuals who are called Chasidei Umot HaOlam, these individuals, and they have the Nefesh HaBehamis, the animal soul, like we said, the first soul that we discussed, are like us. But it's not guaranteed by them. See, this is the difference between Jews and non-Jews. All Jews, it is guaranteed that you're going to have the godly soul, and which we didn't discuss yet, the animal soul, and that the animal soul is this kind of animal soul that is able to be altruistic. Within the other nations, there's no guarantees. Some individuals within the nations can, but certainly not the entire nations. It's not guaranteed that each and every one of them is a human being. Let's call it, in other words, is not altruistic. Everybody is doing it for their own. One out of I don't know how many is able to do it completely altruistic, meaning just because he's a kind person. So let's read it inside now. מה שאין כן, but it is not so. נפשות אומות עובדי גילולים, all those nations who are idol worshippers, הן משאר קליפות טמאות. They didn't come from קליפת נוגה. In other words, they don't want to do a favor for another, even if it's hard. Even if they suffer because of it. They would never do it. שאין בהם טוב כלל. In them, we say by us, there's 1 out of 3,600 good. In them, there's nothing. כמו שכתוב בעץ חיים, שער מ"ט, פרק ג'. Over there what it says, כל טיבו דעבדין האומות עובדי גילולים לגרמה יועבדין. All the good that they do, they only do it for themselves. וכדאית בגמרא על פסוק וחסד לאומים חטאת, the Gemara says, the kindness of the nations is a sin. What do you mean the kindness of the nations is a sin? They're kind. It says they're only kind because they're going to gain something out of it. They're not going to be kind if they're not going to get.
Famous case, which was really debated in Israel, is Schindler, one of the most famous cases. He did it, and I
He's one of Chasidei Umot HaOlam. He's an example of Chasid Umot HaOlam.
Started just to make money.
That's right.
But then he did a tshuva, for a goy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they buried him on Mount Herzl. But it was very debatable, should he be viewed as Tzadikei Umot HaOlam? And they voted yes, because he did a tshuva.
Okay.
But it was
Yeah, as you can see, very good. שכל צדקה וחסד שאומות עובדי גילולים עושים, that all the kindness that the other nations do, אינן אלא להתייהר. They only do it because if it makes them feel good. In other words, if it wouldn't make them feel good, they would not do it. A Jew, I'm not saying that a Jew will do it. A Jew has the ability to do it. They don't even have the ability. Unless you're a Chasid Umot HaOlam. In other words, a Jew has the ability to give tzedakah, even though every time he gives tzedakah, he gets punished by God. Why is he doing it? Because it's the right thing to do. A Jew, and that's where it comes, it has nothing to do with the godly soul. It's the animal soul. The animal soul that God gave to the Jew, the soul that makes him alive, that makes him exist, wants to do a favor to another just because it's the right thing to do. In other words, it's not because... Ask any religion, why are you doing it? Why are you doing whatever you're doing? Why are you doing whatever your religion dictates? So you've got many answers. Some people, because I'm going to go to heaven, Christianity. In Islam, I don't know what the Islam says, also because they want to go to heaven. 72 virgins in Islam. Every religion ask a Buddhist, I want nirvana. I want to experience nirvana or whatever it is. Ask a Jew, yeah, why do you want to do? What do you mean what? Because that's what you should do. You should do the right thing. What do you mean? Why? It's a stupid question. Why do I want to do the right thing? Because it's the right thing. I'm not doing it because I'm going to go to heaven. Yeah, I'm not doing it because it's the right thing to do. I might even be suffering for it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it because it's right. And you can see this, by the way, with the help that every nation gives another nation. Yeah, Israel sends, when there's an earthquake in Turkey, remember the earthquake in Turkey? What happened? What did Israel do? Israel immediately goes and sends things to Turkey. Why? To help them. You can see it in which other nation, imagine World War II, where Britain is going to send food and ammunition and medical help to the Germans. Can you imagine such a thing? Imagine America in Iraq. When America killed 1 million Iraqis, how much medical supplies did they send the Iraqis while they were killing them? The only nation on the face of the earth that half the country stands up and says, no, the poor people, let's help them. Whether it's right or wrong, we don't discuss now. But the thing is, you can see it comes from a Jewish heart. I need to help them. That's what I'm saying, right now. If it's right or wrong, it's another question. Not right now, you're right. But the fact that we do it, no other nation on the face of the earth acts in such a manner. It's a Jewish thing. Whether it's right or wrong, we're going to discuss soon. But it's a Jewish thing. And this is what the difference is that comes from the animal soul of every person, that whether you're a tzaddik, you're a rasha, have it. And I will take question now, if you have any.
Is that in the Shammai Torah, or that's the second soul?
That's the animal soul. That's the low soul. That's our animal soul. It's not the godly soul. It's the animal soul of us. The one that wants to survive. The one that, let's call it, actively works against God. The Esav soul. The red one. The one that thinks about yourself. Even it has a little bit of good in it. It wants to be altruistic.